Welcome back to Car Babble, guys, and it's been a while since I made some content about my 2021 Tesla Model 3 long range, so let's be having you. Now, as a car YouTuber, whenever you say something critical about a car, you get hate for it. It's just the way it is. But for the Tesla purists, I want to just start by saying something positive about this car because they're the ones that are going to dunk on me no matter what. And I really want to just stress that I absolutely love so many things about this car. And in some ways, it's leagues ahead of any other car I've ever had. And so I am actually still pinching myself that I've got a car that is so good in so many areas for the price I'm paying for it. I want to talk today about my main bugbear with this car, which is the quirks of the driver assistance systems, and basically just a mixture of Tesla-isms crossing over into the world of modern cars and all the safety tech that's mandated to be on when you get in the car every time, and how much all of this does my absolute nutting. And just to be clear, this is not an in-depth tutorial of me telling you how to use all these systems and everything about them. There are bigger Tesla geeks out there who will do a better job of that than me. I just want to make light of my experiences and share some of that with you and why they bother me, and hopefully give you a bit of an idea about some of the downsides of Tesla life. And as usual, I do hope we can have a really good debate in the comments, so please do leave me one, and I'm sure there'll be somebody who teaches me something about my Tesla that I did not already know. So buckle up and let's get into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. So the three systems that are always on when I get in my Tesla are forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, which you can't disable at all, and also emergency lane departure avoidance. I want to talk about all of these, but two of them in particular are really doing my nutting. But before we get into that, I want to give a little shout out to another bit of safety tech, which was mandated from July 2024 for cars with Euro NCAP safety ratings, and that is intelligent speed assist, which means anytime you go over the speed limit, your car's going to beep at you to tell you you're going over the speed limit. And the kicker is that will also be switched on every time you get in the car. I had experience with this in a BYD recently I reviewed. It was absolutely terrible, and so you're gonna have to manually switch that off every time. Honestly, where is this all going? But thankfully my car is older than a 2024 model, and if anything, that might be a reason why I'll never buy a new car again. That is how much that is going to annoy me, and has annoyed me hugely in every new car I've reviewed recently. But I digress. Let's get back to the main focus of the video, the forward collision warning and the emergency lane departure avoidance. Thankfully for the forward collision warning, you can actually also amend the sensitivity of the alarms, i.e. it will warn you later or earlier depending on how crazy you're feeling. So that is also something that at least gives you a little bit of customization. The key thing is how Tesla go about making the alerts to you for these things. And with the forward collision warning, basically what it does is it highlights the car that it thinks you're going to hit or other object in red, and then beeps at you like a smoke alarm. It gets confused quite a lot, and sometimes I'll just be crawling up to the car in front of me in traffic, no remote pending issue here, I'm not going too fast up his arse, and it just starts beeping and flashing red on the car in front. Or I'm going around a tight bend and there's a parked car and it thinks I'm about to hit that car, so it starts screaming at me again. That is the issue. Having said that, there are situations where I'm literally driving along the road in my lane, a car then comes the other way in their lane, nobody's over each other's lanes, absolutely no chance there's an accident going to happen, and all of a sudden it just singles out that car, makes it red and starts beeping at me. Bottom line is, it just makes a lot of annoying beeps at me in situations that are almost always completely not remotely close to some sort of collision that was going to happen. And so far I've not really had a situation where I've gone, oh, cheers mate, you've really done me a solid there, you know, I actually thought I was going to crash until you alerted me. It's not happened yet. So every single time it's ever beeped at me has basically been bogus. And so I just want to switch it off. And the joyfulness of doing that, that is a whole other can of worms. But on this automatic emergency braking that you cannot disable at all, I have to say that one doesn't bother me so much because I haven't had a lot of situations in like slow moving traffic where it's just slammed the brakes on at me. But I do kind of see the value also in it being there as a backup in case I am distracted by my kids or something and I'm about to rear end somebody in traffic. So I can see a bit of benefit to that, and the fact that you can't switch that one off doesn't bother me too much, but that is the fact. It's on all the time. These gripes I've mentioned so far though are weak sauce compared to the emergency lane departure avoidance system, which is a serious problem for me. So there's two parts to this. One is that it wrestles the steering wheel off you to keep you in your lane, which can be very unnerving at times, but I've had that gripe in just about every lane keep assist system in every car I've ever been in. It's the fact that it's doing it so often that is the problem, along with this god-awful loud smoke alarm sounding beep, just like the forward collision warning. All it takes is a blade of grass to be protruding over the road, and the Tesla cameras sense this and think that it's either suggestive that I'm about to leave my lane or have a collision, and so it starts beeping at me like mad, like a smoke alarm, and then wrestles the steering wheel off me in some cases. And it's really unnerving and just totally and utterly disrupts my chi when I'm driving. The car mainly uses cameras as the main types of sensors for detecting this stuff. And so technically speaking, if it can pick up a blade of grass when you're doing 60 miles an hour, that's kind of cool tech really, if you're being objective about it. But in practical terms, in the real world, it's a bloody nightmare. But that's not to say that this only happens on windy Scottish country roads. It doesn't, you know. I could be driving along in the suburbs, clearly in my lane, just minding my own business, not going fast, and then all of a sudden it starts beeping like mad at me, and it's like the red lines are flashing down the left side of my car, like I've just scratched it along a wall, and it's like beep, 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 like, whoa, what have I done, you know? And it's nothing's happened at all. I'm not even remotely close to the side of the road. It just seems to crap itself in the most random situations, and it's very annoying. And yeah, the main issue I have with this is in fact the audible part. It's not the flashing red bit on my screen, or even sometimes it pulling the wheel off me actually. It's the fact that it makes this god-awful noise, which it's not a single beep or a subtle beep or a vibration or some sort of prompt. It's just a subtle chime, and it's just feels completely unnecessary as a way to alert me to what's happening. I mean, it's not like I'm 20 feet away from the car when this happens and it's like I really need a repetitive noise to really alert my attention to it. Funnily enough, I'm actually in the car when this happens, so why on earth does it have to be any more complicated than beep? And just for the record, I don't expect that Tesla designed their safety tech with British roads being their primary test subject, but all this just feels like a bit of a chocolate teapot, you know? The systems just continually intervene in situations where they shouldn't, which means that you don't want to enable them to be on long enough to actually intervene when they should. But hey, you might not be as sensitive a person as I am. You know, I am quite a sensitive person. Sensory stuff, loud intrusive noises like that really bother me, you know, and so maybe this bothers me more than it would other people. But on principle, it's just so ironic and ridiculous that this constantly beeps and bongs at you in situations that don't actually really require it, and therefore you're distracted by it at the same time. And more importantly, I could be listening to a really good tune, totally rocking out with my amazing standard stereo in this car, and it just gets completely cut off by this massive smoke alarm sound, and it just totally and utterly winds me up. It's like when one of my kids decides to just make a really random loud screaming noise in the back, and it's like, oh, shudders through you, you know, and you go for a split second, you think something bad's happened, and so your attention is diverted to your child. And then you go, oh, no, they're just making a random noise. But you're thinking about them and not driving the car. And that is ultimately what the same problem for me is with all of this. Shut it. Tesla also has Joe mode, which is kind of cool. And it basically means you can, by default, take all the volume chimes in the car and reduce them a little bit. So things like your indicator noises and all that stuff, you can reduce those. But does it do it for the forward collision warning and the emergency lane departure avoidance? Tesla says no. So they're always the same volume, which means you're stuck with the sound that you get when you've burnt your toast in the kitchen. And that brings me on to the next point, which I'm really trying to build some suspense here for you guys. But the bottom line is, if like me, you hate these systems and you want to switch them off, then you want to get into the habit of doing it before you set off on your journey, so you're not distracted by doing it on the move. But unfortunately, in the real world, I mean, you've got young kids and you're distracted and you're in a rush, that doesn't always happen. And therefore, a lot of the time that you remember to switch it off is going to be after it's made the noise. And that is really the crux of the problem here. Disabling these systems on the move in a Tesla, in my opinion, compared to other cars I've driven, and I've driven quite a lot of cars now, is more long-winded and complicated and just bottom line distracting than in other cars. And that is dangerous. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Mobile phones are banned to use while driving. Yes, I get that and I agree with that. Nobody's disputing why that is not a good thing to do. But at least when you've got your mobile phone, if you were going to use it on the move, you could have it up here in your eye line and press a couple of buttons and still be looking at the road. You can't really do that in here. You know, you are taking your eyes downwards away from the road whilst you swipe and flick loads around the screen. So in what way is that any safer or more legal than using a mobile phone while driving? Anyone? And let's be clear, when I bought my Tesla, I knew what I was getting myself in for with having a car where almost all the tech was buried in a touchscreen. So I can't complain too much about it, and there's definitely pros and cons to this system. But when it comes to disabling this tech, it's a bloody con. But if you could just use like voice control or a shortcut button to get you to your driver assistance systems, or to just switch it off in one button, that would be amazing. And there are cars where it is definitely slicker to do that process, particularly ones of a similar age to this one. And that is really the issue, because what ends up happening is if I'm on the move and I have to switch these off, I either have to really slow down to do it to make sure I'm focused on the screen, or I wait until later because I've got my kids in the back, and I genuinely in some driving situations feel it's unsafe to be that distracted by my touchscreen whilst I've got my kids in the back. The sad reality is with this nanny state tech is that the systems are actually designed to be difficult to switch off so that you are deterred from doing it, and therefore you leave them on because they're going to somehow save your life. And if they did actually really seem to look like they were going to save my life, I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. But the evidence so far that I've seen is it's the complete opposite. And I will stress again that this is not just a Tesla problem. I don't like the way Tesla do this in terms of the alerts and how you switch it off, but there are other cars that have this problem in terms of it being difficult to switch off. And simply the fact is Euro NCAP ratings are going to mean that all cars are going to have all these annoying beeps and bongs. They might not have like a smoke alarm sound, but they're going to have a lots of annoying beeps and bongs at you. And that is the crux of the issue, is that we are stuck with all this tech, which in a lot of cases isn't really good enough. So that is one of my favorites, or not favorites. But there's a much bigger issue here when it comes to proper danger when driving a Tesla. Phantom braking. What is this all about? This is one of, if not the most bitched about topic on Tesla forums. And it doesn't just apply potentially to the Model 3, this is across all Teslas. And if you're somebody who likes adaptive cruise control, like I do, or traffic aware cruise control in the Tesla world, then this is a real problem and a right pain in my jacksie. So for anyone who hasn't actually heard about this before, let me just quickly explain it to you. So when you've got autopilot engaged, which could be essentially your adaptive cruise control or your steering assist as well, and you're going along, you could be doing 70 miles an hour on the motorway, and then all of a sudden the car just randomly brakes quite hard. And it's not quite an emergency stop, but it certainly feels a bit like that when you're doing that kind of speed, and all of a sudden out of nowhere the car just hits the anchors on you. It's mad. Basically what's happening with the Tesla is that it's getting a false positive input, and so you're driving along and it seems to think there's an obstacle up here that isn't there, and therefore it thinks it needs to mitigate against that and slams the brakes on to slow you down. And it could be literally going under a bridge and there's a shadow or something like that. There's so many different things it says it can cause it, but essentially the computer just craps itself. I've had my Tesla now for a year and I did not expect it to be this much of a problem. And I don't drive on motorways and dual carriageways all that much, so I'm not using my autopilot nearly as much as I probably would do if I was in those situations. But the amount of times this has been a problem is really quite shocking, and depending on where you are in the road and what cars are around you will determine the level of soiling in your trousers you will actually do. The worst possible scenario is you're driving along at quite a high speed and you've got somebody tailgating you right up your arse, and then all of a sudden this phantom braking happens, because there's a fair chance you're having an accident in that situation, which could be fatal. And yeah, if that doesn't happen, you might get killed through road rage anyway. So it really is an absolutely nuts situation. On a recent trip to Edinburgh, which is like a 2-hour journey on a dual carriageway, I had at least 4 times where the phantom braking happened and it just randomly hit the brakes on me. But it happened one time on a bend, and that was really awkward because obviously you're braking hard and you know your weight shifting awkwardly, and I was like, ugh, properly had to like hold the wheel and really take control, and I wasn't using my auto steer at the time, so yeah, that really wasn't great. And it's just quite scary. And can you switch off phantom braking? Of course you can't, because the only way to do that would be to disable your autopilot, which is a major function of this car that Tesla really sing about. And so if you want to use it, you're stuck with the risk that you could have these phantom braking moments. And the whole point of adaptive cruise control is it's meant to take the strain and stress out of driving. But ironically, it's causing quite a lot of stress if you leave it on. Thankfully, most of the time this has happened. My family haven't been in the car, but make no mistake, I've had a few really squeaky bum moments over this, and I've got properly annoyed in my car, like fully screaming at it and like nearly doing a ghosty off a cliff just to teach it a lesson. You can actually log a bug report when this happens, so that Tesla can then log it and figure out where you were when that happened and then basically write it off as a false positive. But that just sounds a bit wishy-washy to me, and like Tesla doing what Tesla does, you know, always trying to find solutions to problems, but also maybe trying to look like they've tried to find a solution to a problem that they just can't fix. Bottom line, these assistance systems are designed to make your life safer and easier. And obviously, based on my experiences with all of this, that is highly questionable. But the phantom braking is absolutely nuts, and a bit like the automatic wipers, which are hilariously crap. All it does is just kind of undermine the brilliance of the car. I mean, I'm giving Tesla a lot of heat here, but as I say, a lot of these issues are universal now, and each car will do the same things differently and with different challenges and different buttons and sensitivities and all that stuff. And we're all going to have to get used to it. But I just think it's really sad that you can't just mute things and shut your car up when you want to more easily, you know? And bottom line is, things like the phantom braking, they're dangerous. These are all things that are adding danger to my life and not actually making me safer. And that's the point. Anyway, guys, I think I've rambled on enough here, but I hope you did find this a useful video. And as always, I'm humble if somebody wants to tell me I've got something wrong. I spent a lot of time researching this video actually, because I want to make sure I got my story straight, but everybody's got lots of different varying experiences about this topic. So I'm really keen to hear about them in the comments. And if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.